Hello everybody, welcome into Talladega Superspeedway, back tonight with some FEG-PC money racing. Got a pretty good one tonight. Gonna be a little short sprint race at only 25 laps, but we got a strong field, a lot of big hitters tonight. Certainly gonna keep the action intense, and you know, while 25 laps doesn't sound like much, and well, it really isn't, we got a little bit of pitch strategy that's gonna mix some things up. And on that note, let's get right down trackside and get into your starting race info and starting grid here tonight. The same distance for the same track that we usually go to, 2.65 miles. Weather outside, 79 degrees Fahrenheit, 54% humidity, partly cloudy skies, and winds at 2 miles an hour. That is certainly not going to affect these guys. Cool track temp 2 at 83 degrees. The Talladega 25, going to break it down as 25 laps here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. There's that odd fuel number that we were talking about at 37%. Unlimited tires for everyone. They're all going to have one fast repair that they'll probably have to use at some point. Fixed setups as always, and we do have 10. Might as well call it unlimited green-white checkers if we so need them. Looking at your starting grid tonight, the man that's going to get the pole. How about the effort from John Mullihan? Does a heck of a job here. McCall Motorsports sitting on the front row there with John Mullihan. Second, though, to his outside is going to be the other John in the field. It's the mains boys, John Ellis Jr. Josh McCall starts in third. He's going to have his teammate John Ward to his outside in fourth. Row 3, a couple of McCall Motorsports teammates. That's Ken McCall Jr. and Mark Von Dell. Andrew Clark starting 7th. He's got Daniel Eberhardt returning here tonight, starting in 8th. Matthew Baker 9th. Dylan Jones rounding out your top 10. Back to 11th, Jeff Merck. 12th place is going to be Noah Turpak. Chris Whitaker, he's making a return tonight. That is an NBG Motorsports driver. He's going to start 13th. And Ambrose Kniebel rounding out the field tonight for a 14-truck field. You know, we got a chance to talk to Ambrose the other night. He was doing a heck of a job, you know, tonight. Now that we know he's probably a little bit more sobered up, the whole field in that case probably is, as it is Sunday night. I think the racing is going to be a little bit calmer in general here to start. You know, normally when we talk about 25 laps, we talk about it's starting to kind of be go time. Guys are starting to get desperate, thinking about making those desperation moves, but with at least one, if potentially not two pit stops, going to play into how these guys decide to drive tonight. I don't think we're going to have to worry too much about any of that. Aggression too early, that is. All right, well, let's give an extra shout out here to your man John Mullihan from McCall Motorsports that is starting on the inside, first in the 2 truck, and he is going to have a teammate lining up just behind him there, and Joshua McCall. And you might as well make it 3 teammates because it's going to be his teammate Ken McCall Jr. just behind them. So on that note, McCall Motorsports has the inside line locked up. Now, if they could somehow get split up just a little bit here on this restart in these first couple laps, get both of those lanes blocked up, it certainly wouldn't hurt, but I think we're going to see a pit stop relatively early here. So I don't know if we're going to see too much too wide racing. I think guys might give it a go for a couple laps. Of course, I'm not sure yet if we have the 3 wide rule on. It kind of depends on the size of the field. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably not tonight. So these guys should have the option to do so if they so choose. We're not sure if they're going to. So looking at the fuel, it's somewhere between 9 and 12 laps is going to be my general guess on that 37% fuel marker. And on that, this would be really close. These guys are probably going to have to make 2 pit stops. But I don't think there's really going to be much saving strategy, although could be a little bit. Maybe if you can go 12, maybe somehow find a way to push it to 13. Maybe turn this into a one-stopper. We will have to see. We're getting ready to find out as the pace car takes the hard left turn. Big FEG race tomorrow night. Don't miss out. But before we get anywhere near the topic of that, we got business to attend to here tonight. John and John on row 1. Green flag in the air at Talladega. Got a couple of people in the chat. BB says hello. How's it going? Bakersfield, good to see you in here. Roger Clark. Everybody's having a good night. Underway here at Talladega, leading us into turn 1. John Mullihan, he got a pretty good start. And sure enough, already the first 3 trucks have lined up single file. They're going to get a little bit of a gap, but not for too long here. Watch for John Ward on the outside. If him and Mark Vondell can get linked together, they're going to make some leeway here in a quick time. But I'm surprised that John Ellis Jr. has not gotten to the back of Joshua McCall, and actually that would explain why. He's going to go ahead and fall to the back. Maybe a little fuel saving getting ready to go on here. Again, it's really, really close on the fuel number these guys can run. Normally they can run somewhere between 29 to 32, so we'll have an idea on the first pit stop on how far these guys can go the rest of the way. There's Daniel Eberhard. He actually pulled high there. A little bit of an odd look, but I think they were just checking up so they could find a place in line. And before we even have a chance to make it through lap 1, just about the entire field has already got lined up on the inside line except for one straggler. That is going to be Mr. Andrew Clark in the 44 machine. You know, don't believe he has any teammates out here tonight, so he doesn't necessarily have the feel that a lot of these guys do. He doesn't really know the mind games that like to go on with a lot of these teams, but McCall Motorsports, they have got 5 of their drivers leading this field. Just behind them is going to be NVG Motorsports. We talked about has that addition tonight of Chris Whitaker. We'll see what Chris can do here tonight. I believe he might be a newcomer as well. There's the fan favorite Ambrose Kniebel for Blind Squirrel Racing. Then just behind them, I still think Daniel Eberhard, Dylan Jones, his wingman, John Ellis Jr., those 3 are probably working together tonight. And them along with Noah Turpak, I think they might be saving some fuel back here. In fact, let's go to the dashboard and let's ride on board. See if we can't find out for ourselves. Yeah, you hear it there. The 90s throttle input, he is not in the throttle throughout the whole track, and he doesn't need to be. You see, he's using that big, long single-file draft to his advantage. And right now, if you're in the front couple of rows, you got to have some communication on what's going out back. You got to make sure that everybody in your team knows that one of the opposing teams is probably, if you assume right, at least trying to make it a one-stop at this point. Again, I think if we can see anybody make it to, I would say, lap 12 or 13 on this first run, that would put us at either 12 or 13 to go. You see any trucks coming in that lap, I think they have a good shot at making it. They'll just have to save a little bit extra. And with only 1 pit stop, I think fuel strategy is certainly a pretty good call. I mean, the time you lose on pit road, you know, in terms of 1 to 2 stop is probably somewhere between 30 and 40 seconds getting in, getting out. These guys are only going to have time to take fuel, though. Probably no tires on either the 1 or 2 stops that they all have to do. But you still got to try to get in and out as quick as possible. And if you miss your box on any of these stops, you are going to be in trouble. Don't expect a caution with the way we're seeing these guys go right now. And, you know, maybe you still do try this strategy if you're up front. Go ahead and just decide now that you're going to break it in 2 stops. But I think if you're going to go with that strategy, you got to pit here as soon as that fuel window opens, which I believe it's either already has opened or is really close for that 2-stop strategy. Get in, get back with your teammates and your group, and try to get out as soon as possible and just run those laps a lot faster. Make the guys that are saving fuel have to think about it. Maybe they have to burn a little bit more fuel trying to run a little faster. Maybe that gets it sorted out. Well, normally we would put this segment later in the broadcast. 21 laps in, the whole field single file. How about a little crank it up here at Talladega? Here we go. we go. Pit stops are underway, so that's going to end our Crank It Up segment. Can everybody get in clean? We got one in the grass. That's the 51 truck. Oh, man, he was having a good night. We just saw him making a run to the front, but Noah Terpak is going to have a mistake. That's probably going to give him a penalty as he tried to sneak in here with the Bacall Motorsports group, who is all the people that did pit right now. And now this is going to split our strategy. NBG Motorsports is still out there along with the Mains boys. Daniel Eberhardt and John Ellis Jr. look like they're still saving a ton of fuel. But now this is going to make them not be able to save quite as much. The shorter that draft is, the more fuel you're going to have to burn. They do still have the NBG group in front of them, so they're still going to be able to save some. But it's going to be interesting now to see if they have to just bail out and decide on a certain strategy, or if they can still make this work and stick with it. Let's go back now to the McCall Motorsports group that is making their way out of pit road now, getting back up to speed. Looks like Joshua McCall is going to lead him out. Good stop for the 05, the 03, the 2 of John Mullihan, the 92 of John Ward. Mark Vondell in there as well. Looks like Ambrose Kniebel, and then, of course, Noah, as we saw, both following in as well. Thinking Noah might get a penalty here. But Ambrose Kniebel, he is really borderline. He needs to keep that draft. If he can't quite hold on, then his chances of winning this thing are going to be over without a caution. Meanwhile, up front, you got Matthew Baker leading the way in that. And you know what? Actually, let's go ahead and hang on Matthew Baker for a second here. He's got that new beautiful-looking number 5 Coasting Thunder paint scheme, rocking the USA colors. And when I say beautiful, this is probably one of my favorite paint schemes that I've seen in a while. Looking for a camera shot here where we can get you a better view of it. There's a good look at the front. Doesn't quite do it all the justice just yet. I'll tell you what, though, if he gets the win tonight, that's certainly the best view of it that you can possibly get. Here we go. They're going to make their pit stops now. And we're going to have one that stays out. Maybe a couple that stay out. Oh, Andrew Clark really slow getting into the pits. You see him back there. He is not going to be able to keep up with these guys. Meanwhile, 3 wide, though, in. All NBG Motorsports guys got about an even draw into the pits there with Matthew Baker, Jeff Merck, and Chris Whitaker. Just behind them, John Ellis Jr., Dylan Jones, they followed in. So they're still committing to a 2-stop strategy at this point. Just no chance, obviously, that they can make the rest of the way with this amount of fuel. Daniel Eberhardt, he did stay out. You know, he really was, I think, committing to it here. It's not going to work out at this point. By yourself, you're running way too much throttle time because you're wide open the whole track. He's not going to be able to save enough fuel. Doesn't matter how hard he tries here. I think pretty quickly we're going to see the 90 truck bail out of the strategy, come down to the pits. Hopefully he can stick with the guys that just did pit. Sure enough, here he comes. He's going to have to be really aggressive onto the pits here to try to make it happen. And it looks like he's nice and clean in. But if he can get with one of these 2 groups here, that's going to be his best shot. Now, the McCall Motorsports group did jump these guys. So coming in a little bit earlier seems to be the favorite strategy right now. However, they did not get away as much as they would like, because NBG Motorsports is still in the draft. And when they get there, they're going to have a big enough run where if they want to make a move, they certainly can. Now, the one benefit here, and this is kind of why you saw McCall Motorsports come out in front, is they had to take less fuel. You figure they pitted a couple laps sooner, so they didn't have to put as much fuel in those trucks to get them all the way full. However, this next pit stop, you would expect NBG Motorsports, they're going to get to put less fuel in the trucks, and therefore I think that they will actually probably jump McCall Motorsports. The question will just become by how much. And Andrew Clark currently running last, had a bad pit stop. Noah Terpak on the same boat. He drafts with Ambrose Kniebel. And it looks like they're going to hook up here with Daniel Eberhardt. And I was just about to say, I think Eberhardt is out. He's going to need a caution. But if these 3 can get linked up here shortly, you know, it's still a long shot. They would have to have a pit stop that they all execute well and get right back to linked up. Maybe there's still a chance for them, but they're hanging pretty far back. Ambrose Kniebel and Noah Terpak are almost 11 and a half seconds back. Daniel Eberhardt at 6, but he is fading quickly. And the new draft package makes it now to where if you are by yourself, you just lose time so much quicker. Just not really too much that you can do about it, except try to get as many people as you can, get locked up, and get ready to go. Now, with this 2-stop strategy, I kind of thought it would change things up a little bit here now that they're all back together. Maybe they get a little bit more racy. But NBG, knowing that they're already going to have to take less fuel, I think they're okay here with maybe trying to save a little bit, taking even less fuel. And that might be all they need to get out in front of McCall Motorsports. Don't have to worry about them catching back up. And they can cruise for the rest of the way, save the racing till the end. But looking at the payouts tonight, with this big of a pack, we're going to have a lot of guys going home empty-handed. It's top 4 payout. It was based off of 20 drivers. Didn't quite have that, but we still had 14, a pretty good amount. Payouts are still going to be sweet, and I can guarantee that at least your top 2 are going to be going home with good money. And looking at it, it looks like 3rd and 4th will also Actually, third and fourth will be borderline. They might still make their money back. It's going to be pretty close. We'll have to find out. Either way, though, up front right now, Josh McCall, since pit stops cycled out, rather, has been leading the way. He still continues to lead now. 180 miles an hour exiting turn 2. Get up to about the mid-180s, and later in this race, when these guys really start going at it, you're going to see those speeds get a lot closer to the 190s, maybe even in the 190s. So you got McCall 1 and 2, Joshua and Ken. John Mullihan in third, John Ward in fourth, Mark Vondell fifth. So McCall Motorsports has the top 5 secured. After that, it's going to be NBG Motorsports. They did have Chris leading this line, Chris Whitaker. He's going to drop to the back here. That hands it over to Jeff Burke, followed by John Ellis Jr. for the mains boys. He has his teammate Dylan Jones with him tonight. And there's Matthew Baker, Chris Whitaker. This is interesting that they both jump to the back. We'll see if Jeff Merck in the 60 truck decides to follow. Yeah, not sure if there's a little strategy involved in that or what the deal is. Surprised to see Chris jump out of line like that. Again, these guys are single file. I know sometimes if maybe they were getting 2x2, getting a little racy, we might see a couple guys fall back, not really wanting to get involved, but we'll see what happens here. Going back a little bit further in the field, keeping an eye on these three. They got a lot of ground to make up here at 14.5 seconds. It looks like they have now picked up Daniel Eberhardt. They got Noah Turpak pushing Ambrose Kniebel third in line, but he's blinking a little bit, and that is not helping the cause. He's got to make the time up at this point. They would have to stay locked on without making a mistake. It's just not looking good right now. I think these three, actually these four rather, because Andrew Clark is stuck back here as well. They're going to need a caution, but they're starting to run out of time. Their best bet would be right now if these guys would get side by side, but they're just not because we're waiting for that second and final pit stop. The window should be opening here this lap. I don't know if we'll see any guys come in, though. I think maybe they wait at least 1 or 2 more laps to play it safe. I think the more realistic number is probably somewhere around 9 to go. We'll have to see, but what we are going to see here is a move now from Jeff Merck. He's going to jump to the outside. He's going to get a bunch of takers to go with him. Not sure if there was radio transmission or something that McCall Motorsports might be pitting this time. That would be my best guess as to why they're going high. They're going to try to make a little bit of extra time if they can right here. Let's see what happens. Joshua McCall out of turn 4. Watch for the gold truck to dive to the bottom. He doesn't. None of them do. They're all going to stay out. And just like that, in about half a lap, we are now 2 by 2 by 2. Big run, though. And Jeff Merck and John Ellis Jr. are both going to get clear. They're still pulling more guys along. In fact, it looks like Dylan Jones, he's going to get clear. At this point, maybe even Matthew Baker. Not sure if the inside had been saving some fuel or what the deal was. Guess that might have been the case. Maybe this was a little closer than we thought, but I'm surprised that they just made a run that big, but they're not taking it yet. Part of this might be trying to bring Matthew Baker and Chris Whitaker clear as well. That's going to be a really hard feat to try to accomplish. And we'll see, do they dive down yet? No, they still continue to work the middle. You got to think Jeff Merck's feeling pretty good about fuel. On the bottom, Josh McCall looking to probably go, if not this time, one of the next 2 laps after. Still no move. You know, maybe a couple little fakes here from McCall Motorsports, but nothing that's catching NBG or the mains boys off guard. And as it stands right now, Joshua McCall, Jeff Merck, Ken McCall Jr., and John Ellis Jr. would be your guys going home with some money tonight, all swiping the top 4. But, you know, these kind of races, we talked about that your top 4 going home with money, but if it was the original payout, first and second are going home with well over $100. Third and fourth, you're kind of making your money back plus just a little bit more for pocket change. But the mindset that these guys all have, they're not out here to break even by any means. So at this point, I think everybody's singing in their minds. It's basically a top 2 payout, and that is what everybody's going to be going for. We'll see how it pans out, but hey, finishing third or fourth might not be a bad thing. They are coming up on Andrew Clark in the 44. Not been the best night he wanted so far. I believe this might be one of his debut races here, but he needs a caution. He needs it soon. I guess the good news is if we get one, he is the only driver in danger of going a lap down anytime soon. As you can see on your track map, the next group is just now working their way out of turn 4 as the leaders are not even in turn 1 yet. So they'll be fine there. Ambrose Kniebel, Noah Turpak, and Daniel Eberhardt, that is. Mark Vondell and McCall Motorsports has come to the pits here. And one thing I meant to say is the 51 must have never got a penalty for that last pit stop when we saw him get into the grass. Good job on that. But focusing on the pit stop here that we're looking at right now, who's going to win the race out? It is going to be John Mullihan. These guys just took a simple splash of fuel and go. And now we will await the pit stops from the NBG group, and now the race is on. How quick can these guys get out and get linked together? I'll tell you what, those back 3 look pretty close together. John Mullihan got a heck of a stop. So did John Ward. And this group's going to pit the lap after. They are flying in here, looking a lot more aggressive on entry than McCall Motorsports did. Oh, we got a lock up at the back. That's Andrew Clark. He's going to try to pit with these guys. I think he got it down to pit road speed. Although he's lapped down, he's going to try to stick up here. 3 wide. They're going to have to sort it out before they get to their pit boxes. Jeff Merck, Matthew Baker, Chris Whitaker. There's the team of NBG. And then you got Dylan Jones and John Ellis Jr. for the mains boys. They would like to get their third and final teammate, Daniel Eberhardt, but he is nowhere to be found right now. That group continuing to await and look for a caution as Daniel Eberhardt has stayed out, and it looks like that has brought Noah Terpak and Ambrose Kniebel down to the pits. And on that note, that would mean that Daniel Eberhardt is the only one that has not pit, and he is definitely hoping for a caution. He's just going to stay out here and pray for the best. All right. Watch from the McCall Motorsports group. They have the run. We'll see if they can get there. Actually, just now working through 1 and 2. They did not get as good of a stop as I thought they did. This is going to be close, but I think they're going to have a couple trucks. They're going to help them out. NBG did a pretty good job, but Chris Whitaker and John Ellis Jr., in fact, one driver from each team, had a little bit of a mistake here. And so that's going to help McCall Motorsports. They're going to get that draft, get a little more speed down the backstretch, and those 2 trucks are going to have to tag onto the back. And they are going to have 7 laps this time to track down your leaders. Can they do it? Daniel Eberhardt has now made his way down to the pits. Jeff Merck, wait for all these gaps to settle out here, and we will let you know. That 3-truck battle, 3-truck trio, I guess, if you will, they're not going to worry about racing at all right now until we get to the white flag. Their main goal is to try to keep in front of that second draft, and if they can stay about a second and a half in front, then they won't have to worry about the second group getting a draft. The problem is the second group just has way too much speed. They are absolutely flying. They're just about to be in the draft here, and in fact, they're going to get in the draft. Watch the speeds really start to crank up here down the backstretch. 192, 193 now for John Mullihan as he enters turn 3, and we are about to have ourselves almost a 10-truck battle for the win here at Talladega, coming to 6 laps to go. Took a ride on board here with John Mullihan. Watch the closing rate, but more importantly than that, you got to wonder what is going through the mind of the 2-truck right now. He knows that he's going to have to make a move when he gets there. It's your best chance to win the race, not enough laps, and if he doesn't make the move, somebody else certainly would. But, you know, do you kind of set it up for the straightaway, or do you just take it when you got it? I feel like as big of a run as they're going to have, and it's looking like they're probably going to catch him on the front straightaway, I think you just got to go for it. Doesn't matter if you're in the turn on the straightaway. Tuck out, maybe get a little side draft off the 11 of Dylan Jones, and watch this group absolutely fly once they have completed those 2 things. The new addition from McCall Motorsports, I can say personally racing with them and watching him, John Mullihan has greatly improved himself. I mean, he was a heck of a driver since he started money racing, but the team that McCall Motorsports has put together, every driver that's on it just seems to get better and better each week. Now, John Ward jumped in line here. This is a little interesting, but John Mullihan, he's there. There goes the run. Joshua McCall's going to follow in suit, but a block by Dylan Jones. Mullihan wasted no time. He's going to jump 3 wide. McCall's not going to go with him. Now, Ken McCall Jr., though, is. So just like that, we are going to go 2 by 2. Now, Joshua McCall back to the bottom. They're going to shuffle Dylan Jones out. John Ellis Jr.'s teammate's going to go with him. Ken McCall Jr. is trying to push him up top. Got to be really careful. He almost bumped John Mullihan in the wrong spot. Now we see Matthew Baker and Jeff Merck. They're going to move up to the middle. 3 by 3 racing. This is Eberhardt, Terpak, Ambrose Kniebel. This is all what they want to see right now. They are waiting to see if these guys can get in a wreck before we take the white flag. Potentially bring out a caution. 3 by 3 though into turn 3. Not a lot of momentum, just a lot of track position kind of shuffling around. A lot of things that really didn't accumulate the way that some of these guys thought they would. You saw there that Dylan Jones and Matthew Baker had dropped back to the bottom, but the momentum seems to all be in the middle right now. The bottom is not too organized. They only have 2 trucks. They're going to continue to fall up top. There's only 2 trucks right now as well. John Ward, Mark Von Dell, 2 of the McCall Motorsports guys, are they thinking about 4 wide, or are they just trying to get up there at this point? 4 laps to go. One more time. If we can make it all the way to the white flag, this race will be official. Back to 2 wide as the bottom lane finally dies out. Oh, man, Dylan Jones slamming the door on John Mullihan. He jumps back to the top. He's ready to go for the win. And now we see guys going back to the bottom. Matthew Baker, though, big run up top. Dylan Jones is going to get clear. Now he pulls a big side draft on John Mullihan. Trucks really, really wiggling around now on the backstretch. More contact. Mullihan into the wall. Big hit for the 2 as he's up in the air. Entering turn 3. Caution is out with 4 laps to go. And you could see it shaping up. The bumping was turning into a little bit more than it probably needed to be, but that's what you get. The aggressive racing here at the end. And That's a tough break for John Mullihan, and it looks like this is going to collect only the McCall Motorsports guys. Ken McCall Jr. got kind of pinned up with him. And this was a little bit of an interesting look here. Let's back this up. There's going to be some contact that starts here. Watch it. Dylan Jones getting up. Oh, gets into his door a little bit. Dylan Jones maybe just trying to get a side draft. Nothing intentional here. Ooh, but that contact is what kind of initially brings John Mullihan down the track. Watch this. So once these guys get together, they kind of get stuck together. Mullihan goes down a little bit. And when he tries to get back up, Ken McCall Jr. was kind of just there. They get hooked together, and it sends the two around for a pretty hard hit into the outside wall. Take a couple more views of it here. Yep, looks like it's going to be the 03, the 2, and the 59. Mark Vondell, Ken McCall Jr., John Mullihan. I think Mullihan got the worst of it. You see a little insult to injury there. Mark Vondell getting a little bit more contact. So the 2 truck, I think, is going to be a fast pair for sure. I think the 03 might as well. Mark Vondell, I think, is going to be kind of borderline. The rest of the field, though, is going to sneak through it, and this is a huge break for Daniel Eberhardt, Ambrose Kniebel, Noah Turpak, and Andrew Clark. I think Andrew should get the lucky dog here, and that would put him back on the lead lap. And we are going to have ourselves a good old-fashioned overtime shootout here to decide the winner of this thing. Daniel Eberhardt, make sure you keep your eyes peeled on the 90 truck here. He is going to absolutely fly through the field. I'm talking 3, and if he has to find a way to do so, 4 wide to get all the way back up there, it is going to be absolutely crazy for sure. But 3 laps to go. Looking at your top 5, Dylan Jones is going to be your leader. John Ward in 2nd, Matthew Baker 3rd. John Ellis Jr. back sitting in 4th. It's going to be Joshua McCall rounding at your top 5. Jeff Merck in 6th. Chris Whitaker 7th. Ambrose Kniebel back up inside the top 10 with that caution now in 8th. Ken McCall Jr. 9th. And then Daniel Eberhardt on back. All in the pits, topping off on Little Field, making sure they got some extra tires. You know what? A lot of people don't think tires help here, and that you don't need them. You definitely could say that you don't need them, but if you're in the back, you're coming in, top off on field tires, it certainly helps you out a little bit. If these guys get to wrecking on the last lap and you have to make some evasive maneuvers, there have been times, I can talk from a driver's standpoint, where you start to slide a little bit and you really can't save it because your tires are a little bit old. You don't need them if these guys continue to keep it clean, but big wreck in the end, trying to get through it. A little bit of new tire advantage might be all you need to help you get through it. There's another great look at Matthew Baker's beautiful looking 5 Coasting Thunder paint scheme. Chevy Silverado. He's going to have John Ellis Jr. to his outside. Now, I think Matthew Baker is going to stick to the inside here unless he can find a way to get either himself and Dylan Jones or just Dylan Jones clear. He's going to have to find a way to get to the top, but if he can't, I think he'll just stick to Dylan Jones, try to push him back to the win. But with 2 laps to go, if we wreck the first lap and get a caution, we'll rack him up and do it again. But if we make it to that white flag, all bets are off. We could pile it up right after we grab the white flag, and this race will still be official. I think we're going to get the 1-to-go signal this time. See if we can't find somebody here to get a quick interview with. Looks like Ambrose Kniebel is the only one in the chat. We just talked to Ambrose the other night. Let's go see if we can get a quick word from the McCall Motorsports boys. Actually, you know what? See what NBG's looking like here. All right, we're going to get a quick word here with Matthew Baker. Hey, Baker, this is all set up in the booth. You got a copy? Well, let me make sure I have you set up here correctly. And we're going to try one more time here. I think I might have an audio issue on my part, so I don't think I'll be able to hear him. But Matthew Baker, you got a copy? Yeah, it looks like I do have an issue set up here. So we're going to go ahead and let him finish this thing off. We'll get it set up for next time as we go back tracks. Yep, sure enough, something on my end. We have the Discord channel set up that, of course, me and Baker broadcast the PGR races on Thursday with. Headset reset and everything. Here we are, not working. But, hey, nobody cares about that. What we care about is what we're about to see on track, and it's about to be wild. The 11 of Dylan Jones John Ward to the outside. He's hungry for a win. He's kind of due for a win, to be honest. He's always fast. He's always up in front, but hasn't had a win here in about a handful of races or so. We'll see if he can break that little streak here tonight with a win in a big way. Again, top two going home with the same payout, or if not the exact same, pretty darn close. Initially, it was going to be 130 for first and second. Yeah, so you expect it to be even. So I think if we have two guys on the front row, they're not going to be too stressed. However, if we get three wide, that's where things start to get a little dicey. You got to start to wonder who can push harder. I think, you know, here at Talladega with the start-finish line being after the tri-oval, you get the advantage by being on the outside. But sometimes it's safer to be on the inside. They start wrecking on the last lap. The inside is the place to be, as a lot of times things wash up the track. But either way, working their way out of turn 4. Pace car's getting ready to take the hard left turn. He's going to sit back and watch some good old-fashioned overtime here at the high banks. Now, NBG Motorsports, we talked about the new addition here tonight with Chris Whitaker. 4th on the inside line. We'll see what he can do. And then Daniel Eberhardt, the other man to keep an eye on, back here in 13th on the inside. He's got a little damage, but watch for the 90 truck to jump to the outside almost as soon as possible. We'll see if he can't get to the front. Green flag is out. 2 laps to go at Talladega. There's Eberhardt. Looks like Andrew Clark as well. Already jumped to the outside in the back of your screen. Dylan Jones with a good start. John Ward and John Ellis Jr., though, have gotten locked up on the outside. Watch to see the big run down the back stretch. Ambrose Knievel, Jeff Merck, they're in position for 3 wide, but they got to make the move before John Mullahan does. They're going to wait too long. Here comes Mullahan on the outside. Now Eberhardt's going to leave him to dry. There goes Jeff Merck on the backstretch. It's all the inside line right now. Matthew Baker's trying everything in his power to get clear. Can't quite do so just yet. Jeff Merck and Ambrose Knievel, they're still making that third line work. Into turn 3, the bottom still has the advantage. Now we're going to see Joshua McCall. He jumps to the middle, almost gets all the way up to the top. Holds it there. He's going to look for a little side draft. That gap's going to close up in a hurry. Chris Whitaker trying to get to the back bumper of his teammate. Baker has a chance to make that move now if he wants to do it. He still holds out for now. We're coming to the white flag this time. All bets are off. Who wants to win it the most? White flag is in the air. One more time around Talladega. Still 3 wide, but you can see that third lane fading in a hurry. Oh, man, John Mullahan and Jeff Merck almost got together. Daniel Eberhardt has made up 5+ positions already, but is he going to have enough time? Now we see John Ellis Jr. jump to the outside. Noah Terpank is not going to take advantage. Daniel Eberhardt, though, tries to work with John Ellis Jr. Nothing there. Mark Vondell thought about moving up to the middle, but Daniel Eberhardt, was still there. Joshua McCall, Dylan Jones, side by side. Now we see Noah Terpank. He jumps back to the outside with no one to help him. John Ward, Matthew Baker, the 2 guys rounding out those last money positions, but Daniel Eberhardt, he is going to have one more shot at it if he wants to make a move. Does he get any help? John Mullahan back to 3 wide. He's going to get some help from his teammate. Mad dash to the finish here up front. We are going to stay 2 by 2. Who is going to win it here down at the start-finish line? Through the tri-oval for the final time, Joshua McCall's out in front. He's going to bring his teammate John Ward now. That's going to be Dylan Jones. And it goes to John Ward in the 92 in thrilling fashion. Oh my goodness. Just when you think Joshua McCall had it locked up, John Ward finds a way to get it done on the outside. Are you kidding me? Dylan Jones finishes 2nd, Matthew Baker 3rd, Daniel Eberhardt in 4th. Wow. That was not the way I saw that race ending. Let's go back and take a look here, as it looks like John Ward's just going to go ahead and park it. No burnouts or anything. And what is going to all go wrong here? Watch Dylan Jones. Actually, Joshua McCall here is going to try to get down for a little bit of a block. He waits a little too late on it, though, I think. Or does he get a nudge from his teammate? No, it's just a late block. And then Dylan Jones trying to miss him. Starts to get turned by Baker. He's trying to get back up on the track. Little net code there on the second one by Baker. And then him and Joshua McCall get together. But to be honest, at the line, that kind of looked like Joshua McCall. It was really hard to say from that angle. Let's see if we can get a better view of it. Once in a while now, the iRacing scoring column will mess it up. Ah, man, that was close. Let's take another look at it here. I'm going to play it slow for you here. Watch the 92. Oh, man, you just cannot tell from that view. Try the restart cam here. Back this up. And we don't, of course, have any official word right now. And, you know, from that view, it really does look like Joshua McCall is either still out in front or, if nothing else, really, really close. Take a look here from the flag stand, although I don't think that's going to do us much justice either. Man, This is a tough one. We're going to have to probably find this one out. Oh, here we go. I was going to say, might have to find this one out. We're going to do this the manual way. Go frame by frame here. Joshua McCall. He is going to be your winner. He was the first to cross the line. Not sure why it said anything besides that. So the order that we initially told you was wrong, and I was kind of confused because it had looked just about that close. Change the camera here real quick just to make sure. Yep, it's looking like Joshua McCall did indeed get the win here, regardless of what the results say. And we'll go back here and try to figure out second, third, and fourth. Looks like John Ward does bring home second. Dylan Jones third. Matthew Baker fourth. Daniel Eberhard fifth. And then the rest of the field follows in suit. Back that up one more time for you here. We're going to play it real slow. Come down to the finish line. And we'll play it nice and slow here. And I'm talking this gets wicked, wicked close at the line. Oh, my goodness. Yep, sure enough. Looking like Joshua McCall crosses the line first. Again, we will get official word, but it looks like Robert Miller agrees. He said, yep, Joshua McCall got the win. And there's the best view of it that you need to see. We'd go one more, but I don't know if that's going to give us a better view or not. Yeah, and at this point, yeah, John Ward has not even crossed the line yet. So sure enough, that view right there would confirm it. Joshua McCall wins it at Talladega. We're going to go check, see if we can get some interviews from your top three. Hang out with us for just a minute. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get interviews with your top three tonight, as the audio issue I'm still struggling with here. Again, I will have it fixed before tomorrow night's broadcast over at the Fast Track Sim Racing Cup Series, but wasn't able to work out the technical difficulties here in the time allotted. So we're going to go straight to your results. Again, big congrats to Joshua McCall, John Ward Jr. They go ahead and bring home first and second. They seem pretty excited about it. Dylan Jones in third, Matthew Baker fourth, Daniel Eberhard in fifth, Chris Whitaker sixth, John Ellis Jr. in seventh, Noah Turpot, good comeback, finishes eighth, Mark Vondell in ninth, and John Mullahan rounding out your top 10. Jeff Merck 11th, Ken McCall Jr. in 12th, Ambrose Kniebel in 13th. Andrew Clark did a good job getting back on the lead lap. Unfortunately, he is going to finish 14th tonight in the 44 truck. Well, overall, it was still a heck of a race. Hey, for only 14 trucks, it was fun to watch. Good little event here on a Sunday night. I thank you all for joining me. I hope you did enjoy. And quick reminder here before we head out of where I head next year on Ghost Racing Network, and that is going to be tomorrow night to the Fast Track Sim Racing Cup Series, as we were just talking about, for the Chicagoland 200 in the NASCAR Cup Series. Make sure you don't miss out. It's going to be a fun one. Until then, have a good night.